Every household is following a financial plan. Did you know that? Every single household is following a financial plan. Now, you're following one of two plans. Either your own financial plan, which is written and used and implemented, or you're following the default financial plan that someone else has written for you. So immediately we can tell where we are in just that comparison alone. But let's take a look at the default financial plan so we actually realize that it is a financial plan, first and foremost. And then we can start comparing it to where we are, where we want to be. So the first thing we have to recognize is that there is a default financial plan, but I call it the four horsemen of your economic apocalypse. And the reason why I frame it that way is because this plan is not designed for your affluence. It's designed, unfortunately, to relieve you of your affluence. And you might be feeling this a little bit as you go through year after year, working your business, doing all the things you're doing, and finding out you're not getting ahead as you want to, as ahead as you want to. So here's what they are. You have to know what you're dealing with. The first item is inflation. Now, what is inflation? You, as a private practice professional, trying to get ahead and trying to plan for your future, what do you think the value of money is going to be in 20 years? Less. Much less. So if we know that and can predict that, do you think we should do something about it? Exactly. Okay? But the mass population out there doesn't get it. Doesn't understand that's what's going on. And so what happens is the standard of living declines because the dollars we have in our pocket keep buying less and less and less and less. So eventually $50,000 a year of income buys what? Nothing. A studio apartment, and an inexpensive car, and just enough to eke out an existence. Well, I don't think you want that for you. But that's the plan that's set in, because everybody has to deal with inflation. So we have to figure out how to overcome that part of that plan. The second one is income, gifts, and estate taxes. What's income tax? Income tax is a surcharge on income earned. That's all it is. A surcharge. You made income, we charge you. That's income tax. So what happens if you make more income? You get to pay more tax. How many of you think that is a good part of your plan? Okay, good. Well, what do you think is the largest single expenditure you're going to have in your lifetime? Taxes. So if we don't have a good tax plan, we're going to get popped. You see? And I tell you, every one of you in the room is probably paying $5,000, $10,000 more a year in tax than you have to. Have any of you ever gone to a tax course? No. Well, gee, we should probably have one. That's why I'm developing one, but that's beyond beyond the material we're covering today. But did you know that income tax, 100% of income tax collected goes to pay the interest on the national debt? It doesn't go to pay for all the things we're told it pays for.
So how do they pay for everything else, like bridges and roads and stuff?
Well, there are constitutional taxes that have been there since the founding of the Constitution that run the government. And those taxes go and pay for the necessary functions of government as they always have. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, now the third thing is interest on debt. Okay, now you don't have to raise your hands on this one, but how many of you are in debt? Well, let me ask you this question. How many of you would like to be out of debt? Yeah. Yes! There's nothing wrong with being out of debt. It's a beautiful, wonderful thing. Because when you're out of debt, guess what? You own your own life. There's an element of freedom attendant to being out of debt. So you can imagine then that part of the financial plan I think you'd want to have for yourself is being out of debt, right? But what do you think the default financial plan is for you? Stay in debt as much as possible. And you're going to learn some pretty interesting statistics as we go through this course about how exactly that's done and how it's promoted through the financial planning community as being a great thing for you, which I can't, if it doesn't make sense to you mathematically, it doesn't make sense, no matter how they spin it or how they justify it. Okay, so we're going to have some very interesting talks on that particular point. Okay, and finally, market manipulation. Market manipulation. How many of you have invested money for retirement and had it go down in value? Was that fun? Did you get up in the morning and go, great, I lost 40% of my retirement account today. I am jazzed. Of course not unless you're nuts. Or you're a true speculator and you know you have a bunch of money on the sideline to buy it when it's that low. But how many of you have the intestinal fortitude to, when the market crashes 40%, to say, yippee, I got all this cash, I'm going to throw it in the market today? Nobody. Fascinating. Fascinating, the disconnect between theory and practice. And that's what we find to be the biggest problem, is there's beautiful theory out there, but it's never practiced. Because you're human beings. How many of you enjoy losses? If you just add up, in the last 20 years, add up all the money you've paid in income tax, interest on debt, and money that you've lost in the markets or in investments, any investment. Add all that up compared to how much money you have now. Is there a difference? Probably. Well, we find that a lot of people will have a lot more being spent, because don't forget, inflation in the last 20 years has cut your earning power in half. Okay, you add all these up, and the amount of money here is usually greater than the net worth of most private practice professionals. Now, let me ask you, is there a financial plan? There is. This is all designed, by design. It's the Federal Reserve Bank and the government. And that's all I'm going to say about it at this juncture, okay? But that is the financial plan, the default financial plan that the average American citizen is following. And why? Is it any wonder why the 1% get richer and the 99% get poorer? Is it any wonder why the middle class is disappearing? This is why. Because the value of the production that you created is transferred through these four mechanisms to institutions, to the 1%. That's what's going on.
Chris's system is so simple. It's like I have an MBA in finance.
I think one of the wins is just making us take the time to think of what we really should be looking at in our finances and just our personal goals and where we want to be in the future.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think a big win is just making us take the time to settle down, to figure out where we want to be.
He felt like this was getting an MBA, going through the 5 days, and he's very excited about it. He refers others now to come to this. We have some clients in Montana. They kind of live out in the boondocks. And what they came out of it was they're going to be able to educate their children.
Well, I think it's a good course for them to take because I really like the way they go about putting everything down on statistics, and you can look at it and it's not wondering whether you're doing a good job or not. You have actually ways to measure it.
That's really what got me signed, sealed, and delivered on the course.
Before I took the course, whenever I would go to the bank, I have a line of credit at the bank, and so each year I would have to kind of go over all of my financial information. And what I had noticed was the last two financial information that I had given to the bank, I actually was going down in my assets. When I completed the course, put the steps into action, and did my most recent financial plan, actually on paper I am a millionaire.
I've known Christopher for quite a few years, and owning a consulting company and working with many, many private practitioners, we would help them expand their company, expand their company, expand their company. And then as the years go by, I'd sometimes ask, how are you doing financially? And sometimes I would get like, I'm doing about the same as I was doing before financially. They weren't managing that success, the financial success of building their practice. So I got connected up with Christopher, and we started sharing some ideas back and forth of how we can better help our clients and have them have the wealth and have the security that building up a successful practice creates. And He's been putting together some training things with our clients. Most recently is a Chronologics program that has been just knocking it out of the park. The relationships that he's been developing with our clients over the past few years has been phenomenal, and their sound security, their financial solvency has changed dramatically. And their ability to look at the future and know that it's going to be bright, and themselves and their family and their practice are all taken care of is wonderful. So I'm very pleased to have a relationship with Christopher and the help that he provides for our clients.
The reason why he works with many of my clients is he handles a major problem. See, we help our clients generate a lot more income. However, that doesn't mean that they're going to know how to control their income effectively. What he does is he teaches them how to actually control it in a way where their income actually continues to rise.
Hi, Dr. Joel Parker here, President and co-founder of Veterinary Practice Solutions. I've been a consultant now in the veterinary industry for going on 7 years, another 10 or so before that. And it's been a long time coming to actually find a course like Christopher Music's Household CFO course. I personally attended this course and had great gains and great wins and got a great foundation of financial planning out of this. And this is a course that I highly recommend to anybody in the veterinary field to come and do with your spouse or your business partner, so that you can come and take control of your household finances as well as the practice finances. So if you're looking for, first of all, a good foundation to get hatted on and trained on, plus a series of to-do steps to go back to start grasping and pulling in the financial reins of your own financial destiny, let's call it, then this is the course for you. You guys need to do it.